It is customary in African tradition for me to ask the elders to speak. May I speak? Thank you. Those of us who are the descendants of kidnapped and enslaved Africans, we always start off anything that we do with a libation to acknowledge our Creator and to acknowledge our ancestors. Also, the indigenous people of this land always start off the rituals and traditions that they do by honoring their Creator, the ancestors, and nature. So in our endeavors, we always give honor and praise to the Creator for creating us in His image and out of her likeness and giving us the breath of life and opportunity to live another day. And hopefully we will be positive and productive traveling spirits. We thank you for another day amongst the living. We thank you for your mercy and your grace. Second thing we must do is give honor and praise to our ancestors, the ones who survived the Ma'afa. The Ma'afa is the African Holocaust. We thank those ancestors for their endurance. We thank them for their blood, sweat, and tears so we may enjoy some of the freedoms that we have here in this stolen land. We also, those of us who have blood of the indigenous people of this land, we thank those brothers and sisters for their sacrifices. They fight to continue to practice their culture. We thank them for that. And those of us who understand, we say Ashe. The third thing we always do is ask the Creator and the ancestors to strengthen our grandparents, our nieces and nephews, our aunts and uncles, our brothers and sisters, our cousins, the ones who have lost their indigenous African minds attempting to navigate their way through this illusion of white supremacy, white privilege, racism, and discrimination. We ask they are given the insight and the wisdom to practice Sankofa. Sankofa simply means to seek knowledge of self. We ask that they are given, and as well, and we are given the insight, once again, to practice the return back to our original being, which is a divine essence. And those of us who will understand, we say Ashe. Part of what I attempt to do in my presentations is give us a reality check. A lot of times I think due to it's called a social construct. A social construct from a European perspective has limited our understanding of really being able to address the reality of our circumstances. So in my workshop, I'm going to take us through, it's called reconnecting or cosmic, or waking up your cosmic and genetic memory. I'm gonna wake up your cosmic and genetic memory for those of us who are the descendants of kidnapped and enslaved Africans, so that we can start dealing with the reality of what this conference is about. Racism, poverty, oppression, and capitalism is not a natural phenomenon. It's not something that is created by nature. Those conditions are created by the social construct of Europeans' perception of other individuals, of other human beings. So the reality of it is these issues can be fixed right away if Europeans start looking at everybody else as equal. I'm gonna say that again. These conditions can be fixed right away if Europeans start looking at everybody else as equal and quit looking at everybody else as being inferior. Because the conditions of racism, poverty, and capitalism are conditions that are practiced through policy, legislation, and laws. And man makes policy, legislation, and laws. So the reality of us having this conversation is we got to have a real conversation and keep it 100. Y'all gonna be all right? Because I'm gonna keep it 100. Now, a little bit about me. I'm born and raised in Milwaukee. I was raised on 33rd and Hour, so I'm a little thugged out. Basketball gave me an opportunity to get off the street, get out the game. I'm 53 years old. So I'm going to be coming from the lens. I was raised in a community where my brothers and sisters, my mothers and fathers on my block, everybody had a job. I was raised in a community. So I was raised on 33rd. So if I walked up to Sherman from 33rd, my mama knew that going that way, everybody knew me. I was going to be protected. That's the type of community I was raised in. The black men and women in my community, I can remember my brothers graduating from high school and they go get a job at Patrick Cudahy, Briggs and Stratton, JCPenney Outlet. They quit a job, go get a job. On my block, Budweiser trucks used to come down my block and drop off their beer behind in our neighborhood. So I'm just giving y'all a perspective of the reality of where I come from. Once I graduated from high school, I played ball in Chicago for a little while. Once again, they gave me an opportunity. I joined the military. I'm a Desert Storm vet. I'm a Marine. So I'm going to be talking from a military perspective as well. Thank y'all. When I came back from the military in 1992, I started going to school at MATC. So I got my associate's degree in liberal arts. I transferred from MATC and got a bachelor's degree in community education. Once I got my bachelor's degree, I was working for MPS. I've worked for the Bureau of Child Welfare. I've worked for Head Start. I've worked for the Department of Juvenile Corrections. I've worked for a number of different social agencies. I've been a psychiatric crisis worker. So I'm going to be coming from a number of different lenses. And many of those institutions and industries I just mentioned, they function because my people are dysfunctional. I'm going to say that again. MPS, Bureau of Child Welfare, the Department of Juvenile Corrections, Head Start, just to name a few, function because my people are dysfunctional. So when we're having this conversation about what should be done and how should it be done, there's an element of my European family. And once again, when I'm talking to my European family, I have met some good European people, but there's an element of y'all that is out of order, and we got to start calling them out. And y'all got to start calling them out. We can't call them out like y'all can call them out because we ain't around y'all all the time. So y'all that is down with this, you white people that are woke, as we call y'all, the ones that are woke, y'all got to start calling y'all own people out. That ain't our responsibility. So part of this conversation is keeping it 100 because I work with young peoples and families in this community. We are in trouble, y'all. We in some serious trouble. This city is on fire. It is on fire. And our people are being used as the fuel to keep it going. So when we had this, and so I'm going to try to keep it one, my mama tell me not to cuss. So if I cuss, y'all, please forgive me and don't tell my mama. Please don't tell my mama. I'm getting scared just thinking about it. Where was I at? Y'all, I got scared. I was thinking about them whoopings I used to get. But we gonna move through some information. I am a licensed clinical professional counselor. Now I added the clinical to it because they just call us licensed professional counselors. But my research, my study, I've advanced that. I'm past just being a licensed professional counselor. I would consider myself a behavioral scientist. I done so much research. So I'm going to be coming from an African-centered psychological perspective. And I'm going to just share with y'all, before I move forward, y'all, seeing ourselves through the lens of our creator and ancestors, that's for my brothers and sisters in the room. Part of what our problem is, we're not connected to our ancestors. That's what our problem is. We can't understand our circumstances because we have not re-engaged with our ancestors. Every other ethnicity that wakes up in the morning are connected to their ancestors. When a Jewish man and woman wake up and they go in their bedroom and pick up their little Jewish child, they are connected to that Holocaust. And they ain't gonna let nobody talk about their Holocaust. That young brother that came and spoke yesterday, what's his name? Lamont Hill. Now, he was over in Israel kicking some science about how Israel is treating the Palestinians. Y'all know that brother lost his job? He lost his job just because he spoke against what the Israelis were doing. And I'm saying that to say, we as African people, the descendants of Africans, we got to have the same commitment to our Holocaust. We can't continue to allow other people to dictate the narrative of what our Holocaust is. Y'all can clap for that, it's all right. Every morning that the people who call themselves American wake up, when they wake up, they connected to the founding fathers of this country. And every conversation that's being had goes back to that Constitution. Goes back to that Constitution. So the reality of it is you practicing ancestral worship. But we've been socialized as the descendants of kidnapped and enslaved Africans not to connect with our ancestors. They're not teaching us that. But once again, now that we know that, that's our responsibility to educate ourselves, to connect ourselves to our ancestors. That's our responsibility. Because the reality of it is, y'all, once again, my European family, I'm going to get at y'all. I'm coming for y'all, but I'm going to come for us too, because we got to keep this 100. Y'all have a problem when it comes to y'all not being able to control everything. Y'all gonna have to share this. Y'all gonna have to share this. Y'all can't do this by yourselves. Y'all ancestors the one that messed this up. Y'all can't do this without allowing us or giving us space to be at the table to make decisions as it relates to resources that's coming into this city. When you get to the table, it ain't nothing but y'all. And may have one or two of us Negroes sitting there, but y'all ain't got no African at the table. Y'all got Negroes sitting at the table in many cases. And I'm coming for them Negroes in the room too. Because we got to start having some real conversations about the reality of what's happening. And my European sisters, when you are in a position of leadership over a program that has to do with black men and black women, that's kind of out of order. It's out of order. Y'all can't lead us out of the condition that we in. It's kind of arrogant. It's kind of arrogant for y'all to be in charge of programs that have to do with black male development, black female and black family development. Y'all got to pull back and come on up out of that. Because that's just like me being over the Girl Scout program. What my big old black butt doing over a Girl Scout program? What I know about being a little white girl? What I know about teaching a little black girl how to be a little black girl? So how do you and your psyche think you can run a program that is running over black men and black women? So I just want to keep it 100 on that. Because that's a major problem in this city. Ain't nobody telling y'all keeping it 100. Y'all got people around y'all that's shucking and jiving around y'all, but I ain't shucking jiving. And I know after the day, I'm on the black list. But it's really the white list. After the day. I'm cool with that too. And I'm gonna say to my family, those of us who speak out in this city, y'all gotta start protecting us. Those of us who speak out in this city, y'all gotta start protecting us, because I'm already being blacklisted or whitelisted. So we gotta start having some real conversations, y'all, because if y'all are not allowed, if we're not allowed to come to the table, y'all, we're gonna keep having the same problems that we have. There is so much human potential being wasted because y'all not allowing us at the table. We got the answers to our problems. We got the answer. The answers got to come through us. And y'all got to start respecting us on that. And we need black leadership who gonna be black leadership. We don't need no more Negroes being in these spaces who's scared to speak out to the circumstances of what's happening. Going into the 20th century. We're gonna have to change. It's gonna take a whole different type of mindset for us to change the condition that we in. And I'm not scared. Y'all all right, family? Ashe. How much time I got, sister? And what time is it? Oh, Lord have mercy, y'all. I can't do nothing in 30 minutes. I'm gonna keep going though, okay. Hey, y'all, I got a book list up here, so I ain't gonna go through the book list. But once again, when you understand anything about African history, African scholarship, in the 1920s and 1930s, there was an explosion of African consciousness. And brothers and sisters was getting to a point where they could articulate what our experiences have been living under these conditions of captivity, racism, and discrimination. So when you think about W.E.B. Du Bois, Booker T. Washington, Carter G. Woodson, Dr. Jackson, Sheikh Anta Diop. So if you don't know them people, y'all need to get them books. I got a book list up here. So those are some of them, some of the scholars. And I'm going to read to y'all if that's all right. Can I read to y'all? Huh? I can't hear y'all. I got a book list up here. An error lurks in the root of a system of thought, does not become a truth simply by being evolved. It remains an error. And if that thought is consistent, that consistency can mean only a more interest immersed in error. Usually it requires a mistake in logic to produce correct conclusions for false premises. But false conclusions can be drawn from false premises with strict logical accuracy. In this way, integral and elaborate systems of thought can be unraveled in which the rules of logic produce a rigid adhered to, and yet the entire system can be invalidated by an error at its base. John Pfeiffer is a student of Ayn Rand. Now, Ayn Rand is a European sister who is one of the mothers of conservatism. And the reason I start off with that is just to get us to understand the pseudoscience that we function out of under this European male social construct, the foundation is out of order. The foundation of the reality of the sciences that we coming out of are out of order. That's why we so confused. Because the reality is called falsification of consciousness. In order for you to be healthy, you have to be functioning on information that is actual and factual. And all the information that we have at this stage of the game, y'all, has been whitewashed. It's whitewashed. And once again, my European family, I'm not standing up here saying y'all have not made a contribution to the game. Y'all have done some tremendous things, but damn, y'all can't do this by yourself. Y'all gonna have to allow other ethnicities to be part of this. Y'all gonna have to allow other ethnicities' history to be taught to their children so that we can produce positive, productive human beings moving into the 21st century. If y'all ain't gonna allow that to happen, y'all gonna see what's happening. Look what y'all didn't allow to be in the White House. So y'all got to put some work in, my European family. It's all right. Everybody done made a contribution to civilization. And really, y'all history only go back 7,000, 8,000 years, y'all. We've been on the planet, I'm gonna just say 250,000. We the original people on the planet. And it ain't taking nothing away from y'all. It's all right. But y'all got to get comfortable with sharing these resources. It's enough resources for all of us to survive on this planet, y'all. It's enough resources in the city of Milwaukee for everybody to live comfortably. When you come downtown, it's a whole nother world. And 10 blocks down the street, it is broke off. So once again, I start off with that just to give us a reality check of what's happening. Y'all all right, family? We gonna be all right, y'all. We gonna get through this. I'm gonna give you a little bit of this one. Divine law and order. Part of what we have to understand, we are the descendants of kidnapped and enslaved Africans. We are from the first world order. I'm gonna say it again. We are from the first world order. Our ancestors created civilization. So we created this. There is no thought without the African man's woman in thought. There would not be a thought process. And family, that's all right. Somebody had to start this off, and we started it. Our DNA is the oldest DNA on the planet. And everybody knows. I'm not sitting up here telling y'all something that y'all don't know. And that ain't taking nothing away from my Latino brothers, the Incas, the Mayas. All of us was kicking game. The Chinese and Japanese, all of them, we was all in the game doing certain things. But that needs to be taught so everybody can have a respect for everybody else's ethnicity and culture. That's going to have to be taught. Y'all all right? So understanding divine law and order is understanding that we are a divine vessel. And being a divine vessel, you are governed by divine laws. So we live in a society right now that has lost its moral way. The society that we live in don't have a moral compass. When a man can just get on TV and say he the leader of the free world and he acts the way he acts, and he done got to 3 years, y'all. He done 3 years disrespecting the Constitution of the United States of America. And we sitting back just chilling. It's all good. America is not going to be able to recover from this, y'all. America is not going to be able to recover from what Trump has done on an international level. People don't respect America no more. And that's a reality, y'all. So I wouldn't want to come in behind Trump. I wouldn't want that job, y'all. Natural law and order, once again, is understand that we have to understand our relationship to nature and how we naturally flow as human beings. Man, law, and order, once again, all understanding just because some European men sat down and put some words on a document don't make that document legit. It ain't law, because anytime they want to change it, they change it. That ain't law. Divine law, you can't change divine law. Natural law, you can't change natural law. So when we talk about man's law, it's order. It's order for his society, but since its foundation is corrupt, it's not even order in his society. So we got to start understanding the dynamics of that, so that once again, we can start working collectively together so we can have the type of society or civilization we want to live in. For those of us who going to do this. Y'all all right? Laying the historical foundation to who we now. I'm just talking to my people, because I was going to I'm going to come back and talk about my European family to give y'all a different perspective. But first, I got to heal my people. Now, my master's degree is in educational psychology with a focus in community counseling. So my thought processes when I was moving in the direction of getting this degree, I was looking at how can I heal, or how do we heal a community? Because just healing one person ain't going to do it. So how do we heal the community? So my research and study is around healing the community. And healing community is keeping it 100. In order for us to heal, we got to deal with reality. We can't keep sugarcoating this. We can't keep playing with this. So in order to heal, we got to start hearing the truth so the truth can set you free. So that's how you begin to heal. But when you constantly being bombarded with falsehood, when you constantly being bombarded with deception, it's difficult to heal because our nature is in balance. We need to be in balance with nature. We out of order when we constantly getting falsehood and being deceived and being lied to. That's why so much mental health is going on in this society. And that's why the pharmaceuticals, they say, since you got a mental health problem, we gonna hustle and create a drug to give it to you to drive you more crazy. And we gotta start understanding that game that's being played. So laying the historical foundation to who we are and why for my people is to wake us up. Because the system is only going to change when we change. I want to say that again. We ain't got to force the European man to do nothing. Once we change, he going to have to change. And that's what we got to start focusing on how do we begin to heal ourselves, because once we heal ourselves, he going to have to deal with us accordingly. But as long as we following behind him and trying to negotiate with him, he going to keep doing. He's shown that he's incapable of making the right decision by Trump being in the White House for 3 years. They have shown us they are incapable of leading this thing they call America. That's a harsh reality, y'all. But it's the reality that we living in, because that cat is sick. And he is a representation it's called a psychopathic personality disorder. He's a representation of that. So if he is leading, what do that say about the people who are following him? What does that say about the people that are following him when they recognize he is a psychopathic liar? We got some issues, y'all. No, we got them because we over here with them. It's all ours. We can't say, it is theirs, but we here with them, so we gonna have to deal with it. For my people, when we came over here, and once again, we were already here too, because we was already traveling the planet, y'all. We was already traveling the planet. Africans, we already was moving around the planet. So some of us was all, but when we got here, we wasn't trying to destroy, take, and steal. We was able to integrate, socialize, be peaceful. That's how we was getting down. But then they started, with this slave trade thing, they stole us and brought us over here. When we came over here, y'all, we was not speaking English. So we was coming from the tribe, we was speaking, from Ifa, Yoruba, Voodoo. We was saying Orishas. We was calling, Obatala. Y'all feeling me? Those we were saying, Assalamu alaikum. We wasn't saying Jesus, y'all, because that wasn't even part of our vernacular. So y'all feeling me? My Christian brothers and sisters? That ain't what we were saying. So I just want to get us on that. I'm not saying Jesus didn't exist, but we wasn't calling him Jesus. That's all I'm saying. Because I don't want to lose my Christian brothers and sisters, because you start talking about Jesus, boy, y'all get woo, Lord. Auctions and Negroes. We have always and still is a commodity to this system. I'm going to say it again. We have always been a commodity to this system. Up until about 1863, 1864, there was no such thing as paper money. All of the bartering that went through was through copper, gold, silver, and Africans. And we was the black gold. Up until 1854, 56, y'all. And that's the reality. And even to today, when you think about the prisons, you think about Bureau of Child Welfare, which is ain't nothing but slavery, y'all. Bureau of Child Welfare in prison system ain't nothing but another form of slavery. They pay $125,000 a year to house one of our babies at Lincoln Hills. $125,000 to house one of our little black and brown babies at Lincoln Hills. The Bureau of Child Welfare would pay between $2,000 and $2,300 a month to take a child from a black woman or a black man and put them in somebody else's house. Instead of using that 22 to help that sister get on her feet, they would take it and give it to a European or another African American to house their child. Y'all all right? When black males are put in jail, at adults, I think it's between around $35,000 and $45,000 a year, y'all. To house one black male, one Latino, one white male. So I'm just trying to get us to understand the numbers of how this thing is playing out. So when people come stand up on this stage and be shucking and jiving, y'all talking about trying to fix this problem, I actually should have been the keynote. I'm not getting paid, y'all. I ain't getting paid for what I'm doing. I need to be getting paid, though. Y'all all right? I just want to throw that out there.
Make sure you share your cash app.
I'm prehistoric. I got to get caught up on that. I appreciate that, though. I always show this once again, family. We're going to laugh, we're going to joke, but we're going to go through a number of variations of different emotions here. I'm going to take y'all through some things. When we look at this brother back, I'm saying everything that those of us who are melanated, everything that we've learned, the language that we speak was beaten into us. It was beaten into us. Everybody that's seen Roots, how long did it take them to get to say, Toby? He went out. I mean, didn't he lose a foot before he said his name was Toby?
Well,
It was.
he kept running away, but yeah.
Yeah.
He had to lose a foot.
He had to lose a foot before he denied who he really was. Yeah, that's what we're dealing with, y'all. But you know what, though? We're going to get through this because it's promised to us. The most valuable resource stolen out of Africa was that African woman. And they knew her value when they stole her. They breastfeed their children off her. They know what she's worth. I love y'all. Destroy the black male image. They put a whole lot of work into that, y'all. Everybody seen The Birth of a Nation? Birth of a Nation is really about white men. That ain't about us. Because white men, we were scared of white women. Wasn't no black man, we were scared of them. So wasn't nobody gonna be raping no white woman. Matter of fact, the white women was raping the black men. That's what was really happening. But wasn't no brothers raping no white women? Because we knew what that was gonna land you. So we got to deal with the reality of why would the white male put so much emphasis on destroying the image of a black man? Make him turn him into the demon, demonize him, criminalize him when he was doing all of the demonizing and he was committing all the crimes. He was doing all the raping. So he put it out on us so he can hide what he was doing. Y'all all right? So when we look at this family, I want y'all to look at that little brother. Look at his eyes. Look at them sisters' eyes back there. I want y'all to understand what we have been through. So when people start talking about descendants of kidnapped and enslaved Africans, y'all can't talk about us because y'all don't know nothing about this trauma. Y'all can't teach us nothing about trauma. Y'all don't know nothing about this. We're the ones that survived for that. So any conversation that's being had about trauma in this city, some black people should be leading that conversation. And once again, I'm not taking nothing away from my European sisters. Y'all know a little something. Because y'all had to deal with that European man yourself. So y'all know him better than we do. But y'all don't know us better than we do. Y'all can't fix us. Y'all can't fix us. So y'all gonna have to stand down on that. How much time I got, y'all? I know, once again, I know I'm on the blacklist now. So I just want to give us a little reality check where we at. We got amnesia, y'all. They still doing this to us. They still doing it. They hung Gardner on TV. Hung that brother. There was no need for that young white boy to jump on that man back and choke him out like that. They hung him. That was a public lynching. I can go name some more. But y'all get the picture, right? So lynching has not stopped. When you can kill a man or a woman and they are unarmed and get off, that's still lynching, y'all. Ain't no justice in that. Ain't no justice in that. Why were our ancestors doing this, y'all? Why were they doing this? Why did they take that stand? We got to get back to that, y'all, because we done got real soft. We real comfortable. We real complacent about the game. We got to get that spirit back, y'all. We done lost that spirit. African Americans have always been the moral compass of this country. We have always forced this society and this country to deal with the morality of how they treat human beings. And everybody else that come here benefit off that. Everybody else that come to this city that they call immigrants benefit off the blacks of these brothers and sisters right here, off their backs. And we don't get no credit for it. Y'all better wake up. That's what my program called a wake up program. Because I'm going to wake you up. Dred Scott, the framers of the U.S. Constitution, Taney wrote, believed blacks were beings of an inferior order and altogether unfit to associate with the white race, either in social or political relations, and so far inferior that they had no rights which the white man was bound to respect. It is too clear for dispute that the enslaved African race were not intended to be included and formed no part of the people who framed and adopted this declaration. Now, Taney was at the table when they was writing the Declaration of Independence. He was at the table. And in the Declaration, in the Constitution, the black man is 3/5 of a man. To this day, we still function under that Constitution. The black woman ain't even acknowledged in the Constitution. So for those of you brothers and sisters who run around here calling yourself American, you got a mental health problem. And I will see you free of charge the first 3 sessions. You got a mental health problem. And once again, family, I'm not saying we shouldn't be proud to be on this soil. That's not what I'm saying. But we got to deal with the reality of the political ramifications of how you perceiving your interaction within a political realm. So the Republicans and the Democrats were out of order. Both of them out of order. Both parties are out of order. Both of them use us how they want to use us. One of them give us something, the next one get in, they take it away. That's how they play the game. And we need to wake up to that. We need our own black independent party. We need our own party. Y'all all right? And I'm gonna give y'all another example of this one real quick. Bill Cosby was out of order. All them women ain't lying on Bill. Some of them lying. All them women are not lying on Bill Cosby. When he got, now those of us who are of age, remember Bill and Cynthia Portier was one of the first, them 2 brothers was that got into the good old white boys network. Them was the first, the first 2. Harry Belafonte was up in there too. Sammy Davis Jr. So it wasn't that many. So when he got to hanging around him, he was doing what the white boys do. He was doing what they do. But once again, from this perspective of law and how law deals with us, Bill Cosby is the only one that went to jail. The only one. Now you got priests out there who are straight up out of order. They go somewhere and get a new job. And this white boy that just, the one that they put in jail said that he dead, we need to see his body, because I don't believe he dead. I don't believe that cat did. That cat was dealing with some gangsters. So we need to see if that's his real body, because I don't believe he dead. But I'm saying that to say we need to understand there's a law for black people and there's a law for European people. And we see it every day when we watch TV and how Europeans are able, and even some black cops, shoot a black man down and they get off. Now that situation with our people hugging that little European girl, I got some issues with that. I got some issues with how they had that much compassion for her. She was out of order. She didn't have to shoot that brother. She could have, I'm a trained killer, y'all. It's a such thing as deadly force. I can shoot you in your leg to slow your butt down. I ain't got to shoot you to kill you. So we got to start understanding when these Europeans get the gun and they come into our city working with us and they looking at us through a lens of inferiority, they shooting to kill. They ain't got to shoot to kill. I got the training to prove that. You ain't got to shoot to kill. You don't have to use deadly force when you dealing with people, especially if they unarmed. Right. So it's all in the psyche of a lot of these people. So we got to deal with that reality too. How much time I got, y'all? Just keep going? All right, family, I'm rolling with y'all. I'm gonna roll with y'all. I ain't gonna go through this one, y'all. I'm gonna get this one right here for you. A lot of times, family, when we do a psychosocial historical, it's from a psychosocial historical context that we're looking at ourselves. So when I say behind enemy lines, once again, when our ancestors were kidnapped, that wasn't no friendly thing. We didn't want to be on the ship. We didn't want to be on the boat. It was war. It was warfare. So they kidnapped us. We in America, we still behind enemy lines because we still being treated like we enemies. Y'all all right? I'm gonna say that again. We still behind enemy lines because this system still treats us like we enemies. That's the reality of it. And we got to deal with that reality. But how we look at this, we got, as Africans, as descendants of kidnapped and enslaved Africans, we got to see ourselves from a spiritual, psycho, bio-social, historical context. Them a lot of words, ain't it? I paid for them words, y'all. I done paid for them. Was hard work. Let me share something else with y'all. That LPC I got behind my name, I had to take that test 5 times. You better go take that test, girl. Quit playing. I'm going to get at you. You shouldn't even say that out loud. I had to take that test 5 times, y'all. Now, let me tell you my road to get that LPC. The first time I took it, I was fresh out of college, master's degree. I missed that test by 1 point. By 1 point. The second time I took it, I missed it by 4 points. The third time I took it, I missed it by 2 points. The fourth time I took it, y'all, I'm on the 4th time, I missed it by 7 points. I went to Madison, looked this woman in the eye and told her, if I don't pass this test on the 5th time, I'm coming with an attorney. I passed that test by 12 points the next time. But I say that to say, Europeans, y'all doing things that's out of order. Y'all ain't got to block us. Y'all got to get us into space. Let us in the space to do what we need to do. Y'all got to quit acting like that. Y'all some selfish people. Some of y'all. Some of y'all, I ain't talking about all y'all. But 1619 to 1865, y'all, 246 years of our time in America, we have been chattel slaves. Our captivity is older than this nation. Our captivity is older than this nation. So when you start talking about black people, y'all got to check yourselves. We are some resilient people. We have persevered through some things that a whole lot of people couldn't get through. So when y'all start having conversations about our babies, quit talking about our babies the way y'all talk about them. It ain't their fault they're in the circumstances they're in. And we can't continue to allow the educational system to set tests. We can't compare, nobody can compare to us. So we got to be gauged on how we move through this. We got to change that process of comparing what little black children do to little white children. Little white children that had every damn thing. Oh, excuse me, don't tell my mama. Little European children have had access to resources. And so how is it fair to compare a test where children who live in poverty to some European children who got everything they need? That ain't fair. So we got to change that. So 63% of our time, y'all, we've been here. The reality of a black man and a black woman being able to raise their children was non-void. So wasn't no such thing as a black family until 1865. Wasn't no such thing as a black family until 1865. Now, we were so cold, whoever was on the plantation, that was family. We just got down like that. That's the type of community I was raised in. In the 70s, the 60s, and the 70s, whoever was in the hood, we all family. I can go eat at anybody, I can go to anybody's house, and when they eat, I'm sitting down eating with them. That's how we get out. So 1865, y'all, to 1965, that 100 years was the first time in our captivity where a black family existed. Now, when you start understanding that from a perspective of time, it gives you a different perspective of how resilient African Americans are. How we have persevered through all of these trials and tribulations, and we're still here. We're still producing positive and productive human beings coming out of this condition. So we can't get caught up in that trauma thing talking about us. We've always dealt with trauma. We called it drama in our hood. Don't bring that drama my way. Am I wrong, family? Don't bring that drama my way. That's how we used to get out. But now all of a sudden the conversation about trauma. I'm telling you, my European sisters, y'all don't have a clue. Y'all don't have a clue. So we need to understand what we're dealing with, and then once again, getting brothers and sisters who are African in their thought processes to have a conversation with y'all to help y'all understand how do we really fix this. I'm not no Negro now. We don't need no, because y'all see what y'all getting working with the Negroes. I'm gonna just keep it 100. I love my brothers and sisters, but we gotta start calling them out. You see what you getting when you're working with the Negro. You gotta work with some people who have an African-centered perspective. Even during this 100-year period, y'all, when we came off the plantation, was put in the sharecropping, another form of slavery, we got to understand there was a period where it was called convict leasing. Everybody familiar with convict leasing? Convict leasing. Now check it out, family. I can tell some of my family members, a black man could leave out the house, go stand on the corner, and he can get picked up by the police for an ordinance that he didn't even know about. He didn't even know about the ordinance. He didn't even know about the law. But they could pick him up and put him in prison and work him to death. There were black men being snatched off the street, and the family didn't even know where he was at. During the convict leasing. This was during, like I say, from 1865 to about the 1930s and 40s. It was called convict leasing. So that was another dynamics of understanding what was happening to the black man. And the reason we having some issues with our sisters, with our queens, once again, a lot of times our queens don't understand the warfare that's being implemented on the black man. A lot of sisters y'all don't understand that. And we ain't taking nothing away from how the system is doing y'all, but my sisters, y'all gotta understand the black man is under attack. He is under attack. And so when we look at the numbers of why my sisters can't find a husband, because all of them being put in jail. And they want to blame us for the circumstances. That's the reality of what we're dealing with. Here in Milwaukee, I think it's 1 to 8. 1 to 8 good black men for all these beautiful black sisters. And then my brothers come out of jail. I mean, it ain't their fault they been up in there. And it's inhumane to make a man a felon for life. Yes. That is inhumane. To tell a black man, you, sir, I made a mistake. I made a mistake. I went to jail. I served my time. I got out, done my probation. And I ain't got in trouble in 10 years and I'm still a felon? What is that saying? So the system is designed to keep us in a certain circumstances where we can't participate. That's what it's designed to do. So, but we got to dismantle the system, y'all. We got to dismantle that. And that's a reality that we're going to have to deal with. White folks, there's enough resources for everybody to live. It's enough. Y'all ain't got to hoard everything. From 1965 to 2019, y'all, them 54 years, we still fighting for the same things we was fighting for in 1865. We still fighting for equal, fair housing, employment, education, health care. We still fighting for the same thing. So those people who understand that, if you recognize that we can't keep asking this European male to change, he's showing us he's not going to change. So we're going to have to do what our ancestors did. We might have to just separate, create our own space, and start building for ourselves. But we're going to have to learn how to get along, family. Y'all got quiet on that one. We're going to have to learn how to get along, y'all. It don't make no difference. I mean, like I said, and I said yesterday, I got at the sisters. I'm going to get at the brothers today. You know, the brothers who are Greeks, they dogs. What else is that mother sorority, fraternity stuff? You know, poodles, elephants. Y'all know how we do. Deltas, you know, we get all that stuff that separate us. We get in the room, we can't even kick it with one another. You Christian, you Baptist, all y'all reading out of one Bible, but we can't get along. We got some work to do, y'all. We got some work to do. Y'all gonna be all right. 400 years, y'all. 400 years, illusion of inclusion. 400 years. We still trying to get equal rights, equal fair housing, better education for our shorties, for ourselves. We got some work to do. All right, family? Take some deep breaths, y'all. I need to take some deep breaths, y'all. Come on, y'all. I know y'all supposed to be. I'll be all right. We're going to get through this, y'all. Take some deep breaths. We are some divine people, y'all. And I ain't taking nothing away from nobody else. And I'm not, I was raised in the church. Y'all. I ain't no Bible thumping type brother, though, but I was raised in the church. But I wanted to get y'all to read this scripture because we don't know who we are. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abraham. And lo, a horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abraham, he is God. Know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs. And they shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they serve, I will judge, and afterwards shall they come out with great substance. Family, we don't know who we are. Now, when they talk about them Jews that's over there in Israel now, they ain't been nowhere for 400 years. We the only people on the planet that fits that description. Nobody else on the planet fits that description, family. Now, so I'm saying those of us who are here in America, because they was dropping us off in South America too, y'all. So we got brothers and sisters in South America who fit this description too. Y'all feeling me? So we got to start understanding who we are, what our purpose is, and how this is going to go down. Now, just because something is promised to us don't mean we gonna have to put some work in, y'all. Because what this is saying, God is saying, and I ain't no preacher, y'all, but that's the word of God. Everybody got a Bible? Ain't that what's in the Bible, right? God is saying that we are owed reparations. God is saying that. We ain't making that up. That we are owed reparations. Now, the issue is right now, we get reparations now, Cadillac, Affinity, diamonds, the nails, the hair, they finna blow up. We ain't prepared for the reparations that is coming toward us. So we got some work to do, family. We got some healing to do. Because we ain't gonna do you Europeans the way y'all have done us. I'm gonna say that again. We not gonna do y'all the way y'all have done us. We are the only people on the planet that still live amongst our enemy and trying to negotiate with our enemy. That shows the divineness in us. We have not attacked y'all. Y'all constantly attacking us. We have not responded at all. That's showing how divine we are. God is using us to show the world how he gonna transform man and woman into something else. Because it's hard work living amongst y'all. Lord have mercy, it's hard work living amongst y'all. Y'all all right, family? And family, we so cold. I'm talking to my African brothers and sisters. We gonna use our enemy's language to free ourselves. I'm gonna say that again. We gonna use our enemy's language to free ourselves. Ain't that cold? Everybody else that come over here, y'all, they got a language. Everybody else that come to these shores, they come with a language, they come with a culture, they come with rituals, traditions, values. We the only people on the planet that's trying to find ours, trying to get it back. We one of the only ones. So we're some cold people, y'all. We resilient and we can persevere. So at the end of the day, this may look hopeless, but some things are promised to us. Why we are owed reparations, y'all. When you look at that game board, all that we have endured, I'm gonna let y'all just marinate on that. Look at all that we've endured, y'all. And our European brother, he had a straight line to his riches, straight line to his Beverly Hills home, his condo on the mountain, him and his family. They had a straight line. Even the immigrants that came over here, y'all, that's why they get that Martin Luther King head. Because he was understanding the immigrants that was coming over here, they was being given land, being given resources. They were being given tools and equipment to work the land. That's why they killed him. When he woke up and started talking about the reality of what was circumstances, he said, I have led my people into a burning house. The American dream has become a nightmare for my people. That's why they had to kill Malcolm. Malcolm was already talking like that. So when y'all start, the image of black men, the image of us, that ain't what we are. That ain't who we are. So look at what we had to go through just to get, and we really ain't got nothing. Any black man that's in here that got something, it is hard keeping what we get. It's hard work. I ain't taking nothing away from my sisters. Breathe, y'all. Ain't they doing some meditation yoga this afternoon? We all gonna need it. I'm a little special too, y'all. You know, family, I'm gonna keep 100. Those of us who have went through these higher learning institutions, we're taking for granted what we did. We ain't respected. For going through these institutions, coming out with a bachelor's degree, master's degree, PhD, we some cold motherfuckers. Excuse my French. You gonna tell my mama? Tell my mama. I just had to keep it 100. I just had to keep it 100 on that one, y'all. It is hard work getting these degrees coming through these institutions with these crazy European white boys, man. Lord have mercy. You got to fight for your grades. You got to fight to have your own identity. You get disrespected on campus. It is just ridiculous. But we persevere. We rise. So those black people that y'all sit around that got these degrees, y'all need to start respecting us. I ain't telling y'all to kiss our ass. I ain't what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying we deserve some respect to go through to get these little piece of letters behind our name. Y'all looking at me like that nigga crazy. I love y'all too. I love y'all too. Historical amnesia and historical illiteracy. If you do not know your history, you already insane. If you do not know your history, you already have a mental health problem because you have an identity crisis. And those of us who are the descendants of kidnapped and enslaved Africans, when you wake up in the morning, in your reality, you ain't pouring libation and you ain't recognizing them brothers and sisters who died during the Ma'afa, you already have a mental health problem. I'm not taking nothing away from Jesus, y'all. He deserves to be honored as well. But those brothers and sisters who died during that African slave trade, they deserve to be acknowledged too, y'all. Those brothers and sisters who went through that transformation of being turned into, now once again, the people that they were stealing off the continent wasn't no dumb people, y'all. They were stealing, taking the best of the best off their planet, off their country. Them were some smart people. They were builders. They were engineers. They were architects. They were agriculturalists. So we got to understand them wasn't no dumb people. So when we think about ourselves, we got to start looking at ourselves through a different lens. So they bring us over here and turn us into something entirely different. And we still here, y'all. Still producing positive, productive, loving, nurturing human beings. Sit amongst our European brothers and sisters and show y'all love. Ain't none of us came in nowhere and shot up a whole bunch of people. Now, some of us are taking now, it's called social deviant behavior. Now, next time they give me an opportunity to talk, I'm going to talk about it, but I don't think they're going to let me come back, y'all. I don't think I'm getting invited back. But there's a science to turning individuals into social deviants. There's a science, it's social engineering, and there's a process, and I got a workshop that I can do that, but I got to get paid next time. That's my cousin. I'm looking back at my cousin. He said, I do too much work for free. And he telling me the truth. But the reality of it is, family, this work is going to have to be done even if the money ain't there. It's still going to have to be done because we got to understand our ancestors, that picture I showed with them young brothers and sisters that was getting hosed down, they wasn't getting paid. They wasn't getting paid when they was getting their head bust to the white meat. They wasn't getting paid when they was getting put in them cells. They wasn't getting paid, but many of us have benefited from their sacrifices. So we got to put the same commitment so the brothers and sisters coming behind us don't have to go through what we going through. We're going to have that same type of fight in us to change this condition. And sometimes, y'all, it's going to take a little bloodshed. Everywhere else on the planet, y'all, folks is in the street fighting. Everywhere else. They fighting for their rights. They fighting to be treated as human beings. They fighting for workable wages. They fighting to overturn those corrupt governments that they up under. Here in America, we just all good. All good. All good in the hood. Food for thought. To manipulate history is to manipulate consciousness. To manipulate consciousness is to manipulate possibilities. To manipulate possibilities is to manipulate power. So once again, I just put that in there to give us a reality check about how we see ourselves from a historical context, understanding our consciousness, the reason our babies are in the condition that they're in because they don't see no possibilities. And then understanding once again, the power of change, the power of a change in the thought process, the power of people coming together, working collectively to change the conditions of this city. This is the worst city for a black family to live in. The worst city. And you got brothers and sisters who stand up in front of us. I mean, Mandela done a good job. I'll give him his props. But he can't talk the way I'm talking because I ain't scared. He done a good job at articulating the circumstances here, but the reality of it is this thing got to change. Our babies are dying. Our babies are dying. There is no reason we should still be having a conversation about lead laterals. I'm going to say that again. There is no reason we should still be having a conversation about lead laterals that our babies are dealing with. They done built a trolley and they done built a stadium. 2 of them. And we still having a conversation about some lead in our water. So what that tells you about the mindset of the people who up there making the decision? What that say about the mayor? What that say about the county exec? What they say about the aldermen, the county supervisors, and we still having this conversation. So I'm getting mad now, so I'm trying not to cuss. Shiggity? All right, I like that one, shiggity. I want to get to something else, family. I want to get to culture. What we got to understand, family, a culture, it cultivates personality. It cultivates spirit. So when you practice in a culture, that culture gives you your identity, your foundation, your morals, and your values. When you think about the descendants of kidnapped and enslaved Africans, we used to have a culture. We used to practice culture. But we lost our culture when we integrated. Now, there was some good things that came out of integration, and there were some bad things that came out of integration. But once we integrated with our European family, we lost our culture. We wanted to be European. We wanted to be close to the European, so we stopped practicing African culture. So we're going to just read what culture is so folks will have an understanding. Because a lot of times we be having these conversations, but we're not dealing with it from a human development perspective. Understanding the science of human development. And culture is the foundation of that. Culture is the extent to which a group of individuals engage in overt or verbal behaviors reflecting shared behavioral learning history, serving to differentiate the group from the other groups and predicting how individuals within the group act in specific settings and conditions. That is, culture reflects a collection of common verbal and overt behaviors that are learned and maintained by a set of similar social and environmental contingencies. Learning history. Culture is the context for us to establish our collective experience and foundation where life takes on meaning and gives us order and purpose. Culture tells us who we are and what we should be doing. It also gives us common theme for life. Culture forces the group to think with one another. Culture forces the group to think with one another. I'm gonna read that one more time because I don't think everybody got that. Culture forces the group to think with one another. Culture extends the power and the progress of the group, and culturation is the implanting of a spirit and personality in the group. Y'all got that? Everybody got that? Now, what happens in American society, since we are practicing American society, a European cultural frame of reference, we are being European. Does that make sense? So those of us who come into America and pledge allegiance to the flag, we're saying that we are American. But those of us who are the descendants of kidnapped and enslaved Africans have to understand, once again, in the Constitution, we're not. The Voting Rights Act is an act. It's not law. I'm going to say that again. The Voting Rights Act is an act. It is not law. Every 20 years, whoever the president is has to sign that Voting Rights Act. If that president decides not to sign that act, that means the descendants of kidnapped and enslaved Africans can't vote. And that means we are not citizens of this country. And that's the reality that we live in. So we've got to really evaluate and challenge what's written in that Constitution and how we practice being American. Y'all all right? I got one more for y'all, then I'm going to get out of here because I know they like that nigga got to go. Stockholm Syndrome and trauma bonding. Y'all all right? Feeling of trust or affection felt in certain cases of kidnapping or hostage. Trauma bonding. Taken by a victim toward its captors. Now, what we have to understand, y'all, when we was kidnapped, we were kidnapped, and now our captors, their offspring, their grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren running the country. Y'all all right? Sometimes to the point of defending and identifying with the captor. So I'm going to read it again. Feelings of trust or affection felt in certain cases of kidnapping or hostage, taken by a victim toward a captor, sometimes to the point of defending and identifying with the captors. What happens to us as African people, when we identify ourselves with being American, once again, that's a duality in our consciousness. There's a duality where we're struggling with who we are versus who we think we are. So that causes confusion in us. So a lot of times when there's an Africans or Africans in the room and we're amongst some of our Negro counterparts, when we start talking about Europeans, those Negroes defend the Europeans. I'm gonna say that again. There's a lot of times when Africans in the room start talking about what's the problem with Europeans, the Europeans ain't got to say nothing because one of the Negroes is going to stand up and talk for the Europeans. Y'all can applaud for that. Y'all going to be all right because I'm going to keep it 100. So we got to start understanding, and part of what trauma bonding is, it's like being in an abusive relationship. Anybody that do domestic violence work, that's what you're dealing with a woman is in a relationship with a man. You trying to understand why she can't leave a man. She traumatically bonded to him. So as a collective group of people, we have that problem with the Europeans. We traumatically bonded with them. So when a black man or black woman stand up in front of us and say, we need to separate, you got Negroes in the room, we can't live without them. Where we gonna go? What that's gonna look like? That's trauma bonding. We can live without them, y'all. Everybody else that come over here, they don't assimilate. When the Koreans, the Hmong, the Asians, they got their own communities doing their own thing. We can do that too, y'all. We can do that too. Y'all all right? All right, sister, I heard that. Is it shidiggity or shiggity? Shiggity? Food for thought, y'all, then I'm gonna let y'all have this. Each and every victim of racism, and that includes all of us, racism has infected all of us. We all are sick due to racism. And if you can't admit that, then you're a white supremacist or you're a white nationalist. Each and every victim of racism should minimize the time and effort spent doing anything other than thinking, speaking, and acting in a manner that helps to eliminate racism and establish justice. So this conference, if y'all are really, really serious about ending the conditions of this city, just start being just in y'all decisions. Just start being fair in y'all decisions. We don't need another trolley. We don't need another trolley. That trolley only just ride you Europeans through downtown a couple of blocks. Any other money that needs to be allocated for anything needs to come down into the hood. Y'all need to do some development. Y'all need to start spending more money in the hood. And my family, we got to start understanding as consumers, we got to quit spending our money with everybody else. Ain't nothing wrong with that, because when you as an African American or a black person or a Negro open up a business, don't too many people come to your business. I'm going to keep it 100. Don't too many people come outside of their community to support your business unless you're selling dough, women, or food. Y'all all right? Fear, frustration, malice, and confusion caused by racism retards constructive research. Constructive research, once again, family, these institutions of higher learning, y'all have to start allowing African Americans, Latinos, and Asians to do the research on their people. To allow us to do the research on our people so that we can come up with the solutions to help our community. Y'all got to start opening these doors up to Marquette, the medical college, UWM. Y'all got to quit blocking us from getting into these spaces to educate ourselves. If y'all really serious about changing racism, oppression, and capitalism, y'all got to get serious about this. Because this lip service, it's time out for that, y'all. It's time out. Our babies are dying. Activities in an intellectual exchange between the people of the known universe. Neely Fuller, like I said, I got some book lists up here. It's always a pleasure and an honor to give my people a reality check. A lot of times I think we having some fluff conversations. We sugarcoating, dancing around real talk, but I'm not scared. And I got some cards, I got some DVDs for those who want to purchase them. Once again, it's been a pleasure. One love, family.